guys, welcome back to Aspirant Gaming. Today we were chilling, Lake Patrol, Civ Patrol, so we were just vibing, and we ended up on an island out here off Palomino Highlands. A bunch of friends just hanging out, telling stories and doing character stuff, and it was a blast. So thought I'd share this with you. So, do we fancy a little story time?
Ooh, yes.
Ooh.
Well, we gonna start singing Kumbaya or some shit?
No, I said story time, not singing stupid songs. We're not trying to attract the fire department with scout songs. No. I'm going to tell you a story about my great-great-grandmother. My great-grandmother.
Before you do, can you take his phone away from him, please?
Put it in the
Throw it in
fire.
the fire.
Just chuck it in the fire.
You're the closest one.
I'll put it away.
Don't actually do that. You might need it.
Charlie was getting up to actually go do that.
I'm medical
Sure, that's a
information's
film.
on
Just make
there.
sure you find
Hey,
all
it
the
was
dick pics, though,
tempting.
and put them on point. Anyway.
I'm surprised he even has one of those.
I forgot my
Probably
iFruit
wrinkled.
password, so
Wonderful.
if I lose this, gone.
So anyway. About 1895, my great-grandmother, Nita Blackrock, she lived with our people here in San Andreas, up in what is now Casti Valley. You know, up there near Josiah. Well, the place that's now the Altruist camp, in the 1960s, it was built as a Wild West theme village. You know, like a tourist thing, Old West, people being actors and stuff. Never really took off, fell into disrepair, turned into that crap hole it is now. But before all that, and before it was so considerately and sensitively turned into a Wild West fucking theme park, it was originally the site of my people's village. Well, my great-grandmother Nita lived there with her parents, and she was restless. You know, the Western world was spreading, and at this time, Los Santos was just a little wooden gold town on the coast of the Pacific. Down there on the plains, the buffalo still roaming around, but the little gold town, it was growing, and that little gold town needed people to supply it things. It was about then when the railroad came through. 1894, I think, they finished building the big, metal bridge in Cassidy. Yeah, it's that old. In fact, it's the oldest one in San Andreas. But anyway, I digress. So about 1895, she sees, all these people coming in and out, the trains coming through. The once peaceful valley is loud and the sound of trains, and more people are hunting there, moving up from Los Santos. Well, she's curious and she wants to see what the world's like. So she heads east across the Rockies, and she sets out on a journey to discover her place in this new world. Well, she ends up in this little town called Valentine in Hanover, I think it was. Whatever they called it back then. And it is a strange, wild place. You've got the swamps of the far west of that part of the world. The deserts to the south. She roamed all over. But she tried to fit into society out there. It didn't work too good. She ended up finding most of her work as a hunter up in the mountains. So, because my people, they grew up in the mountains, so she was familiar with it. Anyway, she spent most of her time hunting up there in the mountains. She'd eventually, when she had enough money, she bought a wagon, and she'd go up into the mountains, taking rich tourists from the cities up to go hunting, and she became a guide. Eventually, she fell in with one of the tribes down south in New Austin, and she met a warrior called Bear that was there, and she fell in love, and they married, and she never returned to our people's lands. She settled in New Austin with him, and that's where my grandmother was born, and my mom, and me. So whilst I'm originally of the Tongva, I grew up in deserts of New Austin because my great-grandmother had once gone to try and find the wider world. Can't tell you if she did or not, but I know a lot of stories about her. I know her getting involved with the tribes down there. The ones to the south of New Austin, the Apache, and up towards the ones in the mountains to the north. Were very similar to Tongva people, but they were PT. Land out there was far more westernized. White man had brought all his culture through. Place was so different to what it had been 20 years ago, 10 years ago, before that time. She never fully integrated with society out there, but whilst things were good back then, you know, obviously they'd settled things long before, land had been finalised. Of course, didn't exactly win out too well in that regard, but general attitudes towards the native people had improved, and even then, they still didn't quite fit in. Whether or not they, you know, dressed like the white people or not, it didn't matter. There was always a slight divide, whether it was intentional or not. But she was a better hunter than most of them. By a long stretch. She ended up supplying a lot of the meat to Valentine, into a little town called Strawberry. It's a wild tale. There was one time, there's a story I was told by my grandmother before she passed, that her mother had told her she was attacked by a bear when she was up in the mountains, up in the Rocky Mountains. And she'd been on a hunting trip. This was before she got in a wagon. The horse had fled, and in a snowstorm she was attacked. She managed to limp almost all the way into town. Barely a drop of blood left on her body. She collapsed in the main street. First, no one came to help her, but eventually a kindly nurse that had worked at the physician's office had just come back into town from seeing an old rancho that lived outside. And she found her, and she took her inside and tended her wounds, treated her, and it was that kindly nurse that meant I exist today. Everybody else just let her lay there.
Damn.
Oh, damn.
Now you're all depressed. My mission here is done.
Interesting to see what the struggles our forefathers had to go through.
Uh-huh. Come on, someone else tell a story. Okay, so tell me where each you're from. Tell me where each you're from. What, you know,
want
how
a
you grew
story?
up.
I can give you a story.
Go on.
You see, my mama, she married someone pretty young. She came here, but that man left her. Went out east too long into their marriage. Of course, I came around later, but that story isn't about me, nor is it about her. About him. I did not hear his story for many years, and I've only heard glimpses just of it at what became my father after he left here. It is an interesting tale nonetheless. I know he came here for a brief stint, was a law enforcement officer. My mama went down the path she did. But when I hear he did much the same, went out to the east, went to Kentucky. He went over there and he started working over there himself. Went into a newly founded town somewhere way off the east, near Louisville.
Oh, the old fuck's not dead. Don't fall off the cliff again.
Oh, these stores born you?
No,
Yeah.
I'm saying the old
He already
man's not
fell
dead.
asleep.
Yeah. He, what the fuck he's doing? All right. He went to this town. He started living himself. Got a little bit of a name. The place was being incorporated. They were looking for people with some experience in certain areas. There was not many people in the staff. Very, very few. I think it was under 200. Had a local county sheriff. Had state troopers, but not really many people wanted to go in. He made friends with the mayor, a couple other people, and at one point down the line, they just asked him if he wanted to be the police chief. He said yes. This is 1990, I think it is. when all this happened. It became a police chief. This tiny little town, I think it was called,
He's gonna fall off a cliff, you know.
well,
Probably.
then we'll go grab your 8-bag. He stayed in this town for, as far as I'm aware, a couple of years. He was in and out of there. Being the police chief, I mean, the guy had very few, maybe a lick of experience. Sorry. He had a lick of
No.
experience doing work out there, but he just stayed there for a couple of years. Stayed his way up in politics, stayed as a chief for a long, long time. I think about 4 years he was there. From maybe a year here, law enforcement over there, then police chief. Town, very small. Very few
And your
people.
ass ended up as a wildlife cop in Grapeseed. Such a disappointment.
But there was one little twist to this story. I haven't quite reached yet. See, 1994, from what I hear the story to be, he went in, he decided he wanted to do something a little bit more. He put in an application to be FiveM. Joined up with them, some fucking dipshit group. I don't know. This is where the story gets fuzzy for me. Because all I know is that he went through his training. He got through, joined their academy, got through all that. And then he was sent to his station, Oklahoma City, in 1995.
Ooh. I'm sorry.
I never knew the man. I don't think there
Still.
would have been any chance of me ever rekindling with the guy anyhow. But that's how his story ends.
I'm from Harmony area.
Mm-hmm.
My old man was in the Marine Corps as an aviator. He was attached with the liaison wing over on Zancudo around the Gulf War time, early 90s. While my mom was studying as a nurse at college down there. I can't remember what it's called.
LSA?
Yeah,
No, not
whatever
the
it
airport.
is.
I'm an idiot.
ULSA.
UCLS.
UCLSA.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. College is overrated. But yeah, they met. I'm the middle child. I have an older brother. Rest in peace. Yeah, he was in Ramadi. Humvee rolled over IED.
And
Shortly after that, I was in high school when that happened, and I joined to be a corpsman. So I spent a stint in the Navy, got out, joined the sheriff's department. That's really all there is to know about me. Local
He was a
kid,
corpsman.
joined the local. Yeah.
Oh, shit. Got in 08. Served 26 MEU.
Nice.
Hospital corpsman for a decade. Just about.
Yeah, I was attached to the 31st MEU out in Okinawa. Spent some time with Rotational Force Darwin down in Australia.
Shit. Gotta spend your time in Japan.
Yeah.
Would that be something, Judy? From living off military base in Japan?
Eh. Do I miss it? Kinda. But I'm happy to be in home.
I don't miss my time. Glad I did it, but I don't miss it. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. And the nightmares. We had a call a couple months ago now. Up on North Claffia. Don't know if any of y'all were there. Some douchebag was hunting with an AR up there. And he was up in the foothills of Chiliad, right? Up on the steppe where it starts to transition from the forest up into the kind of the mountainside. And we get up there and there's something smelt funny about the whole thing. So we'd grabbed our vests beforehand, we had our rifles up there. I went up to check on this guy and he starts shooting down at us from this plateau. And it was rough. But what was real rough was that terrain felt real fucking familiar. Like the trees giving way to that rocky open mountainside. Just gunfire echoing off the terrain. That shit was way too familiar. Especially when fucking Pringle took one in the ass. A bullet, not a penis. He goes down, and I'd already switch had flipped inside my head. I was already barking fire control orders before this had even happened, but he goes down. Eagle's just arrived on scene, so all I'm hearing is gunshots and rotor blades. I pulled a frickin' road flare out of my belt, and I just wazzed this up the hillside to where we got a flat spot, and I ordered the units that were there just to throw down suppressive fire while we brought an Eagle for a fucking dust off. Dragged his ass into the helicopter and tossed him out of there. That one had me at the bottom of a couple of bottles for quite a while, till I got past that. Had to see a shrink. The reason is because on my third tour in Afghan, we were operating in the mountains north of Jalalabad. There's a wilderness park up there. It's technically a state park in Afghanistan. Yes, those things exist. Or a wildlife reserve at least. But the mountains north of Jabad, really, really steep terrain, bad terrain. Taliban love it. Lots of caves up there. Well, we were going on a raid, and I had a full team in the back. We got up in the mountains and we took RPG fire. I caught one in kind of where the tail boom meets the fuselage. It damaged the shaft, and we lost tail rotor control. Helicopter went down hard. A lot of the operators were killed. Well, the ones that were still in the aircraft were killed. A couple got thrown out early. Poor fuckers. Crew were killed. WO2 John Wink. Staff Sergeant Adam Carson. Sergeant Mike Kelly. My guys. I was the only survivor of that crash. I was up there for about 18 hours. Weather was too bad, it was middle winter. And it might look like a desert and, you know, hot and all that during the day and down at lower altitudes, but up there you're nearly 8,000-9,000 feet. And it was winter. It was snowstorms. They couldn't get in to get me. They had my beacon. I could just about occasionally get reception on the radio. And those fucking hills were crawling with Taliban the entire night. I tried to come back after that, and I tried to do another tour. I made it about halfway through before I had to punch my ticket and go. I was done. I didn't have it in me anymore. So now I came here to do the same thing for much, much lower pay and much, much worse conditions.
Alright.
I swear to God, I've been shot at more in this state than I ever did in the military. And I was flying around fucking SEAL teams. I have been shot at less with SEAL team and Delta in the back of my aircraft than I have with you SWAT guys. Fucking criminals here are next level.
Funny thing is, like, when I was a corpsman working, like, combat triage at a combat outpost in Afghanistan, Kandahar province, you know, I got shot at less than our medics that get shot at here.
Yeah.
They give up them better.
Taliban could take lessons from the criminals here.
I still
Please, no.
can't look at a C-130 the same way. Every time I drive by Zancudo, I'm seeing one of them taking off.
Man, I'm not going to say one of those things again. I like my teeth in my head.
We had I was at a FOB Afghanistan.
FOB
All
Remph.
came in.
Calling it an FOB Remph.
The fucking fob, stupid.
Yeah.
We had a.
She good?
Not sure.
She doesn't want to hear the press stories. Anyway, we got a call in. We had a Casevac, a couple Casevac birds need to stop in. Don't know what happened with the main post while they weren't sending to us.
Oh, you good?
Yeah. Just thinking.
War story screwing you up?
Dad used to serve.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, you're
Get around
fine, don't
campfire
worry.
with veterans, you end up telling stories.
Oh, of course. He always told me to just avoid the military. Not worth it.
It's worth it, but it leaves a scar. You don't realise what you're signing up for when you first do.
Yeah. Don't think he did.
No matter how much it fucked me up, I'd do it again. Entire
I used
generation
to travel
made a
around
mess.
a lot as a kid.
Military brat will do that to you.
Yeah. Pretty much been in every single neck of the woods in this country.
Yeah. I could feel that.
Makes you learn how to adapt quickly. Get to
Wish
know
I had
people.
that skill.
It's helpful, but you know.
Yeah.
My dad always told me to look for him in the stars.
That's sweet. You
Used to
know, my
point out the
people believe that
constellations to me.
when you die, you move on to spirit realm, and that you're always there to guide future generations' actions and safeguard them. I don't know how much of the old ways I believe, but it's meant a lot more to me since I came back here. Tried to reconnect. I tried to separate myself from the culture when I was growing up. When I ran away to join the military, it was my way off the res, because down there it was just drugs, it was alcohol, it was domestic violence, it was crime, it was... The res in New Austin was a fucking hole. Everything that I knew about native culture, Indians, was bad. It hurt me. It was my childhood. It was painful. Funnily enough, it's since coming here and reconnecting with my ancestors, it's felt more relevant. Maybe your dad is out there, somewhere nearby, guiding your hand.
Maybe he's got a mind.
Yeah, maybe. Was he a good shot?
He was a marksman, so
Hey,
you know,
yeah, there you go.
following in his footsteps, I guess.
Guiding your hand from across the way. I swear to God, if that old codger touches my fucking helicopter, I'm gonna beat him senseless.
Don't worry, he'll fall again and do it to himself.
That's if we don't fall. Look, he's running up the damn cliff. He's gonna fall off and die, and I'm not gonna take him back. Going back
Does
up
he
there.
think he's in like a Lifeline
Yes,
movie or
I
something?
think he does. I think his ADHD kicked in. Come on, let's go back
Probably.
up there and join the others.
Yeah.
Hope you've enjoyed this. A little bit of storytelling,
I hate how deep
character
this sounded.
backstory. Really kind of gets into the depth of things. Enjoy kind of telling character stories. It's fiction, it's fun, it's improv storytelling.
About being worse in country or here, I'll take here every day of the week.
The old fucker fall
At
off a
least
cliff
today
yet?
I know we're fucking fighting for something. No, we're
I
still
don't
being
know.
depressed.
They're looking for him.
Well, let's move topics, because this is fucking depressing. We're meant to be having a good time.
Boats.
Oh, now it's raining.
Anyone have any recommendations for boats? I'm looking at buying a boat.
One with no holes.
Fucking rain.
I'm going under the tree.
Let's get under a tree, y'all. Come on, Judy.
Hey, you never go wrong with a pontoon boat.
Oh, Jesus Christ. What do I look like? An old man out there? Judy, you can still... Judy.
Well, this is a good place to leave things, guys.
I
Hope you
think
enjoyed
you'd
this.
probably break up with me in a heartbeat if I ever bought a pontoon boat.
Yep.
Please don't.
A little bit of storytelling fun. I'll find a little island getaway.
What's that? What's that?
Thanks for watching. Bye.